Well, into darkness once again, into the breach once again. I don't know. We're doing things a little differently this week.
But it's February 27th, 2018, Tuesday.
The joke is us because we're changing things.
Some of you might not like this. I dare say, definitely some of you will not like this. But we are, in a way, I suppose we're surrendering. We're giving in. The YouTube demonetization and the discovery algorithms and all that, we have to make a change.
So the news is normally like an hour long, and we're still going to record the news in one session. I think a lot of other podcasts do this, but we're going to break it up into sections because some people don't want to watch stuff anyway. People use the crap out of the timestamps. So for patrons, on Tuesday night, we're going to release the full news all at once. But otherwise, it's going to be broken up into probably 15, 20-minute episodes and then released throughout the week because YouTube algorithm, whatever.
Now, the silver lining is we're going to attempt to be a little more in-depth with each set of subcategories. And we're not sure exactly how we're going to split it up, but you should get more overall content. You'll just have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, unless you join Patreon, in which case you can get it all at once because we shoot it all at once. And by the end of the week, the news might be a little bit stale, which is why we're putting the nonsense for the week, the prior week, at the end of the week. Because there's always something, like somebody has always jammed that screwdriver into an electrical socket in some way with technology. So we can all point and laugh.
So, if you hate it, maybe start a change.org petition. No.
We're going to try it. We're going to see how it goes. It probably, honestly, I think it will probably be better in terms of content, in terms of like the quality of the content, and in terms of other stuff. And we still have hardware videos and other stuff to do to filler, but if we can do videos 6 days a week, if we can get videos out 6 days a week, that will probably help us in terms of discoverability and sharing and all that sort of stuff.
And our stuff, I feel like it's pretty mundane compared to a lot of YouTube content. We don't get too political and we don't try to touch the crazy topics, but we still step on those demonetization landmines and it's getting more and more regular. So it's just like having 5 legs instead of 2. So when
one get blown off.
Yeah, you can still be mobile.
And you can always join Patreon because $1 a month. I mean, I don't know. James Damore. So this is a correction. We got it wrong last week. We said everything was dismissed. It's just he had a labor board complaint. The labor board complaint is dismissed. His lawsuit is proceeding, although his lawsuit would have been a lot stronger with that labor board complaint.
We did mention that there was still a lawsuit. I think we might have thought it was 2 lawsuits. But yeah, the other interesting thing about this, when you go back and read it, he dropped that labor board complaint in January.
But they investigated anyway?
I don't know if this is just the wheels of bureaucracy, and once they get rolling, until they grind a certain amount of flesh and bone, they can't stop. Or if this is just soapboxing, or it's like, no, we will rule on this. I don't care if you drop it.
God, how awesome would it be in the future? It's like when lawsuits are powered by pints of your own blood. It's like, if you want to continue with this, we're going to need 3 pints over the next year or whatever.
But of course, the government will... they'll get pints of blood from other people to deal with the lawsuit. There'll be proxy pints.
Well, it's not all good news, though, for Google. Another lawsuit has been filled, which is, I just love the headline here. Google's bro culture led to violent sexual harassment and female engineer. A female engineer has alleged. But bro culture, I mean, is it really programmers at Google? Is that how it is?
You can read this, you can take it 2 ways, because the things they described guys doing could be sort of practical joking and not really understanding the male-female dynamic.
Socially retarded.
We go back to the James Damore thing. How much of it was malicious and how much of it was just not getting it. And one of the things that she complained about was getting shot with Nerf darts. That doesn't sound like sexual harassment to me. I'm not sure the workplace needs it or if it's okay at the workplace, but there were some other things about, people making comments about her physically, and apparently one guy hiding something under her desk. But you also have to wonder, we talked about the Tesla thing. She was fired. And she was fired for performance reasons. Now, she claims because she made these reports, they would not approve her code. So it was sort of like, a cop who rats out another cop and they won't back him up and they won't ride with him and he eventually gets fired. So maybe that's the case, or maybe she was really just bad at it. I don't. How can anybody really judge that?
You'd have to look at the code. Show me the code. I guess. I don't know.
I don't think that would work in a court case.
No, because no one understands the code.
Yeah, the jurors are not gonna. I don't even know if these kind of trials go to jury.
print the 2, carry the 1. So there was a 12-year-old that was swatted in California, and there's a video of it online, and it's really just it's more sad than anything. But no one died, so that's good.
Yeah, this one, it was an interesting report for swatting. They reported that people were hanging themselves in this house. Now, of course, that does mean the entire SWAT team suits up, and they didn't kick the door down. Amazingly enough, maybe they are learning. They actually knocked on the door, and this kid's parents answered the door and explained everything. I think the cops did clear the house, though.
Yeah.
So you are going to get, no matter what, you're going to get your home invaded when these kinds of things happen.
Yeah. Well, this is a 12-year-old streaming, whatever.
He apparently got some attention from a more popular YouTuber or streamer or something, and suddenly had like a huge influx of viewers. And I guess somebody was a little jelly of that.
Don't do that. Don't do a SWAT. Somebody's liable to die. Maybe that's why they said that it was, people were hanging themselves versus the shooting, because the swatter was cognizant of, oh crap, I might accidentally cause murders.
Well, I don't think there should be a distinction in that.
No.
The offense, though.
No.
It should be across the board.
Yeah.
And of course, they talked about the guy that got the people shot, and he's gonna be in a lot of trouble. But the swatting thing, I don't, like, you're making an appeal. I don't think these people, they had talked about how the other guy, what was his name? The guy from the
Kansas,
where somebody got shot.
Yeah.
And psychologists talked to him, and he said he did it because he wanted attention.
Wow.
And he got it.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. I don't know. Hopefully this country will get its act together in terms of like mental health issues. No, probably not. Speaking of things that are never going to be fixed, Snapchat has responded to the change.org petition asking for a rollback of features. They've basically doubled down and said, you'll like these things when you get used to it. And old people use it more, so we're nowhere on the right track. That seemed to be the distilled version of their response.
If they think that's real, they should be terrified, because old people using Facebook is killing it. They did say they were going to make some changes, but I don't think they're necessarily the changes that everybody wants. And there have been a lot of outcry about, swatting, for example. People aren't up in arms about swatting, and maybe people don't know about it. But if people cared a quarter as much about swatting as they did about Snapchat's redesign, I think maybe we could get some attention shined on it.
And here we are at level 1 fighting the good fight. Like, come on. Why is this a thing? So this is kind of a follow-up, but kind of new information. We covered that Disney was upset that Redbox, because Redbox, they rent DVDs.
And they buy them retail.
Yeah, they buy
Disney, well, they buy DVDs from other companies in bulk, just like Blockbuster would, but Disney won't play ball. So they just buy Disney. They go to Walmart and get Disney DVDs or wherever.
And those DVDs come with download codes. And so Redbox is selling the download codes separately from the DVDs. And a court has ruled that's totally okay.
Yeah. I'm surprised by this, aren't you? I mean,
yes.
I thought this would go Disney's way, no problem. I don't think it should, but I definitely thought it would. But this is good news, I guess,
I think that the article states that the judge even went a step farther and said that Disney was abusing their copyright. And I think that will probably not stand on appeal.
The judge definitely had the opinion that, hey, you sell it, it belongs to whoever you sold it to, which is pretty rare in the judicial system. But this is a huge win.
It's sold, not licensed.
Yeah, this is a huge win for the little guy. And those of you who love Redbox, those of you still using physical media, although in this case, I guess you're not, right? You're using that download code.
Well, this is going to have implications far-reaching, far beyond Redbox, because think about like game download codes, QR codes, UPC codes, resale for that kind of stuff. It's good that first sale doctrine applies, which means that once you sell somebody something, you don't get any say-so in what they do with the thing that you sold them. But of course, the media companies are going to go, no, we're not selling it, we're licensing it.
Yeah, and so of course, the game companies tried that. Remember the Xbox debacle where it was like, you're not really buying these games, and that didn't fly. So, yeah, small mercies,
small victories, at least temporarily, until Congress can get involved.
Get those Disney codes while you still can.
The car companies are preparing to sell driver data to the highest bidder. And so this is something that we've predicted for years. It's like, doesn't matter if you're using the smart services in your car or not. The car companies are paying for the connection to the car. The car is sending its data to the car manufacturer. That data will be sold in aggregate with lots of other data.
And we're getting to the point where the car companies themselves, and especially the partners who are partnering in the data, are talking about this in the shareholder meetings. And we've often talked about this. If you want the truth from a company, listen to their shareholder and their conference calls and stuff like that, because that's where they're telling the truth. When they're talking to the general public, they're not telling the truth. When they're talking to their investors, and that these people are saying, you have no idea how valuable this data is going to be, and we're getting all of it.
We're making so much money from this. Yeah. And you may think it's like, well, what is the big deal if, there's not any identifying information sold with the data? Well, it's your vehicle, everywhere that it's been, and a lot of mileage data and usage data, engine wear.
It's parked at one address 40% of the time or more.
Yeah.
How hard is that to cross-reference?
Yeah.
That's...
Oh, there's a muffler.
There might be some noise in this episode because there's construction and the usual horrible no muffler cars in this area.
Woo, we got the window open because it's a nice day today. And also because there's a weird smell. JPMorgan glitch gave customers access to others' online accounts. So this got a lot of headline coverage, a lot more than we really expected. But apparently it was a limited issue, they said. But when you log in, you were taken to somebody else's account. That seems like a big deal. It seems like a teller is like, oh, would you like to withdraw from someone else's account?
Yeah, well, especially if it's an investment account, because that's the nuts and bolts of somebody's whole retirement funding and how much money they've got. And that's pretty bad. They downplayed it, and I don't think anything will happen about it, but it's pretty bad.
I did find something. Somebody had it was like a screenshot or something, and the guy hadn't paid his bills in forever and was overdrawn and a whole bunch of other things. And it's like, well, I guess there's nothing here for me to take, so I guess that's good. But my account seems to be missing, so hopefully no one's looking at my account.
Yeah, well, the next guy's seeing your account. That's the problem.
How does a problem like that happen? Like, how do you get an off by one bug like that?
I imagine I've read programmers who work for places like that, and usually it's in the high frequency trading part of the business and the investing. But they're like, my life is just Adderall and antacids because I'm working on a production server at all times. There is never time to test anything. It has to be rolled out right now, and it has to be perfect. I'm working full stack, and I want to kill myself.
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
So maybe they brought that same philosophy over to the regular customers.
Speaking of things going horribly wrong in production, Tesla apparently had its Amazon cloud account hijacked, and it was used to mine cryptocurrency. So, yeah, Tesla did not have enough security on their cloud account, and it got used to mine cryptocurrency.
Now, this was just one Amazon account. I think they were using this for like the R&D cars or something like that, like telemetry from the R&D division. So I don't think any customers' data was there. But of course, they weren't going after data. They were simply using the Amazon to mine cryptocurrency. And they weren't sure how long it had been there. A security researcher found the key. The security researcher's job, nowadays, they just look at Amazon. They just troll through Amazon. Tesla gave them 3,100 and... Or no, it was 3133... .70 because that's leaked.
$3,100 basically.
Yeah. So if you've got some free time, just troll around on Amazon. Maybe you get lucky, you get $3,000 from Tesla.
No.
Or you could mine cryptocurrency. They did. Somehow they used Cloudflare to hide where the cryptocurrency was going.
Interesting.
So they got away with it.
It's really interesting. There's a flight sim company that has embedded malware to steal pirates' passwords. So if you pirated this particular flight sim software, it would dump your passwords from Chrome and send it to the publishing company.
That seems a little fishy. Now, I don't think legally, even if someone's stealing your software, you don't have the the right to do that.
Can't be a vigilante.
Now, here's the problem. Well, there's lots of problems. The biggest problem is the password capture was in everybody's installation. It was like Flight Sim Labs, I think is the name of this company.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the name of the game is, or the Flight Sim product. Do you call that a game? Do people get wounded when you call their Flight Sim a game? But anyway,
it's a very serious business.
If you have this game software or whatever, there's a test.exe file, and that is the capture. Now, they claim they don't use it unless you are on a specific blacklist. And then they went further and said they were actually only looking for one guy, and that was the guy who kept cracking it, and they're looking to sue him. So they wanted to get his password to find out who he is.
It's an interesting strategy, but still, vigilante justice. It's like, I don't think you would expect that. Although, what if they put in the terms of service is like, this application may take preemptive measures to protect itself, including trying to figure out and report the identity of people that mess with the software. Like, if that line was in the end user license agreement, they might be in the clear.
I don't think it would. I think in court they would lose.
They would lose against everybody except the cracker, probably.
They would lose. Google might not.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. Do these guys have a ton of money to throw at this? Probably not. Probably a little Flight Sim company.
It's interesting. And plus, the hacker is probably in some faraway foreign land that is going to be untouchable anyway.
You're not going to be able to get to them. So a bad idea. If you're looking at copy protection, stealing passwords is not the route to go.
Oh, we've got an update for you this week. A new lobbying group is fighting right to repair laws, and it turns out the group fighting the right to repair laws is funded by industry giants, or like industry, like the staples of the industry. And like the arguments are insane. It's like, if you are entitled to repair your television, it can be used for cryptocurrency mining.
Yeah, it's mental gymnastics to get from A to B, but they're saying, hey, it's been proven that Internet of Things are dangerous. Well, true, right? Okay, I'm with you so far. And that the security for these devices is almost non-existent, and the companies don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay, and I'm still with you. But if you're allowed to repair it, that makes it worse. Now you've lost me.
Apparently the repair people are going to install malware, and it's like, I'm mining for the cure, and apparently the repair guy is mining for his own personal Monero wallet.
Now, where is the discrepancy? Where's the distinction between the smart TV that's using that on-screen recognition to watch everything report back everything that I watch to the parent company, versus something that the repairer installed that does the same thing? Is one okay and one not?
Apparently, yes, because when the companies that are involved's bottom line is affected, that's the thing. But can you imagine that there's a cottage industry out there? I mean, I would say, based on our own audience and our limited experience, if we could sell devices that were like, hey, you can install this device on your LG Smart TV and it becomes a dumb TV, it disables all the telemetry and everything goes back to normal, you have control. Like, we could sell the crap out of that.
Well, you can go to body shops or automobile shops and pay them a certain amount of money to rip all that telemetry and GPS out of your car. People do that because, as we talked about, I don't know if we've talked about it yet. We found this out of order. But the car tracking, the big car data is going to be a huge thing, and there's going to be services that will remove that from your car. And that's exactly what these people don't want to happen. Before a prosecutor uses that as an argument, it's like, well, this guy was a criminal and it's premeditated because he removed the tracking stuff from his car. Yeah. And it's like, nope, just a big fan of unreasonable searches and seizures. That shows maliciousness that you're trying to hide. What are you hiding?
I just don't want to be tracked. How is that wrong? The EFF has got a news bulletin here. The Federal Circuit should not allow patents on inventions that should belong to the public. So it's an interesting thing. It's like, a drug company patents a drug and then they make a slight improvement to the drug and the patent runs out on the original drug, but they can get a new patent on the slight improvement and then nobody makes the old patented drug. This is more about devices, this particular article. They're talking about improvements on patents that are already in the public domain, because when a patent expires, anybody can make it and use it and do whatever. But if you improve it, you can patent the improvement. And the EFF is saying this is being taken too far. This is a farce. It is not good for people.
I got maybe 20 pages into that legal document, and I could not figure out exactly what they were talking about here, the specific example. I think it's really obscure.
Yeah, it's a legal brief, but that's what they're talking about.
But there is a specific patent that they reference. I just couldn't get to the bottom of what it is. I have a feeling that this is a really mundane, pointless thing that no one would get excited about, and that's why they're not telling us in the article. But it still is something like we have to get in front of this nonsense patent law crap.
Yeah.
Not just in the medical and tech industries, but with everything.
Well, can you believe that there was once a time when copyright and patents lasted the same amount of time? It's like you patent something for 20 years, you copyright something for 20 years, and then after that, it goes to the public good. And now copyright is like life of the author plus 120 years.
Which seems
excessive.
It shows the penetration of the copyright holders into the system of government. Now they're basically running the show. And I don't know how we ever extract ourselves from that, but this is a step in the right direction, probably.
Now, when I say IPO, what do you associate with IPO? I mean, I think like going to make a lot of money. It's like, new industry, something that is not mundane and plotting.
These days I associate it with a stock that's going to be really expensive, and a month from now it's going to be half that price.
Well, Dropbox is filing for IPO. They're hoping to make $500 million. And it's like, what is so revolutionary about storing files in the cloud?
Well, it's a good buzzword. I mean, it's not as strong as blockchain.
But it's
strong enough?
Do you think that based on the news stories that we're seeing, where all these companies are just so excited to figure out ways to monetize the end user's privacy, that Dropbox will be tempted by their newfound publicly traded status? It's like, well, we can monetize the fact that we store people's data.
Could be. A lot of the tech IPOs do tend to sort of lose. So it's a big excitement up front. Everybody wants to get on that train, and then they really sort of slow down after that. And everybody who got in the beginning lose money. I think Facebook, they were actually profitable eventually because they had the big IPO, and then it wasn't that exciting. But I think it might have went back up. I wouldn't get into the Dropbox IPO.
Are there any angel investors that would be on board for a Dropbox competitor whose mantra is just plain Jane cloud-based file servicing, nothing else?
Cloud is the other one. It's just called Cloud. And I think they're using that as the competitor, because with a valuation, you usually want to cite a competitor.
We're going to charge you what it costs plus 2% for our margins. And that's all it'll ever be. It's like, that's our aspiration. It's like, we just want to earn some money storing your files, and we're going to do the best job that we can storing your files. We're not going to try to make money on your data.
Well, but if you don't agree to inspect those files, then you become, what was Ken.com's?
Oh, yeah. Who's aiding and abetting because he wasn't inspecting things for...
Yeah. So you have to look at those files, or else you're the enemy.
Why is everything so hard? I was kind of channeling like the Futurama, like Mom's old-fashioned robot oil. And it's like, it was a simpler time when you just uploaded your files to a secure storage platform. And that's all it was.
What was the name of his thing? I've forgotten completely now.
Mega Upload?
Maybe. That might have been the second one.
It's just Mega, I think, now.
But yeah, so not only do you have to actively screen them, but I'm sure you have to report. And then you got to get those, hey, we suspect this guy might be going to shoot up the workplace. Give us all of his files. You got to deal with that.
In other news that is shocking to no one, AT&T has literally just rolled out net neutrality or internet fast lanes. Like this is textbook the thing that net neutrality is supposed to prevent.
We should. I don't know if it already happened or if it's going to happen this coming week, but the actual they actually put through the paperwork on the killing
the rule
net
change.
Neutrality.
Yeah,
we were always already past the point of no return, but we hadn't actually filed the papers and made it official. And it will be official, if not already, by the time you're watching this. Which day is this one?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
This is Tuesday or Wednesday, so it's close enough. It might as well already be the case. And AT&T is wasting no time.
Yeah, AT&T literally is saying, yeah, this is going to be 0 rating, but they take 0 rating a step further. They take a 0 rating a step further even than T-Mobile, because the way that T-Mobile is doing the 0 rating is you can sign up with T-Mobile, and if you follow their rules, like your streaming videos no better than 10 or 480p and some other things, then your data can be 0 rated, so that T-Mobile customers are not billed for that. That is not that. AT&T is looking to charge money coming and going. This would be like UPS charging you to deliver to your house after somebody has already paid to have it shipped, have a package shipped to your house.
Yeah, they are looking for partners, quote unquote, and if you pay them, then people can watch your content without those extra charges. But of course, the unspoken part of that is you can't watch everything else without those charges. And eventually, when you're watching everything else, they're going to mess with your experience and, poison that experience so that you say, oh, Netflix sucks.
Why does it keep buffering?
I want to go back and watch this AT&T sponsored thing, and that's net neutrality.
That already happened.
The lack of net neutrality.
Like, we don't have to, it's like, oh, that's purely theoretical. It literally already happened. It already happened. So yeah, why are people dumb?
Because, well, I don't think we can answer that question, but why are they doing this is to prey on dumb people. And that's because money.
And confuse them by saying that this is something that it isn't, and that something that it isn't, it is.
Remember, that was the big net neutrality argument, is this is good for poor people. Because what if you can't afford Netflix? We're basically giving you free Netflix. It just happens to be we're getting paid on the other end to give you that.
Our net profit has gone up as a result of having poor people in the pipeline. Something is wrong somewhere. This is kind of divisive, but President Trump, in the wake of the shootings that we've experienced here in America, it's like President Trump immediately tweeted something to the effect of, we have to do something about violent video games and movies. And it's already been shown over and over again that there's not really a link between those two things. I'm not sure why he thinks that.
As usual, I don't think he thinks his statements through very much. He's just he's shooting from the hip at all times. And I don't know. Do you think Trump's base, is that what they want to hear? Maybe. Especially older people.
Yeah, the video games is scary.
I think it's sort of easier to digest that. That gives you a scapegoat. It gives you a demon to go after that's not. We have this horrible mental health problem in this country.
Why video games? Why not North Korea?
People are so screwed up, and we don't know what to do about it, and we're trying to use chemicals to fix it, and it's just making it worse. Let's blame video games.
Okay.
So, of course, EA and other companies, how bad is it when you're on the same side of the argument as EA? They've spoken
that's
out,
dark times.
And they've referenced, of course, all the various studies that, we've been playing violent video games since
before I was a teenager.
Wolfenstein, if you want to talk about, because those
those are really visceral.
Yeah, but that was the first time that you were looking through the eyes of the character, and you were shooting the gun, and it was like a immersive 3D experience. It's funny that we would call that an immersive 3D experience. In those days, it was. And I don't feel like I'm any more apt to murder somebody. I want to murder you because you don't use your turn signal, not because of Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I would definitely, and I think studies have shown that. Like, intuitively, that. It's like, if someone needs mental health care and they're playing a video game, does the video game, is that really the thing that set them off, or is the lack of mental health care the actual problem there? And time again, studies have shown it's the mental health care that's the issue.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing Trump is not thinking about here is the voting population these days are gamers. A lot of them. It's only become true recently, because before, the older crowd, people our age, when we were young, we're not into video games for the most part. It was very rare. But now that's much more prevalent, and he's attacking something that he probably, in his mind, isn't a big deal. But I think to the voting public, they don't want to hear this.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.